Is it hard to access affordable, healthy food? Then listen carefully. Daryl Addison, an African-American inventor, has patented a process for growing food on demand. He called it Torpedo Pot. Torpedo Pot is a fully automated flower pot that gives you control over your plant's environment. All you do is add soil, seeds, and plants to the flower pot and watch it grow. Yes, Torpedo Pot grows the rest. Visit www.torpedopot.com.
So we have a story out of Hawaii. So they said the wrongful arrest of a disabled 10-year-old black girl and her unlawful detainment of her mother has become a catalyst behind demands for the school level change in Hawaii. At the helm of the demands, of the ACLU, which claims the mother, Tamara Taylor, and her daughter were both traumatized by the incident that occurred last year at Hawaii Elementary School. Say on January the 10th, 2020, Taylor and the ACLU alleged that her daughter, who is diagnosed with having the deficit hyperactivity disorder, was singled out by school police for drawing an offensive sketch in retaliation to a non-black student that was bullying her. Okay, let's get this straight. She didn't punch nobody. She didn't kick nobody. She just drew an offensive sketch. They said whatever the offense is, we don't know, an alleged offensive sketch. And the police retaliated in response to her drawing a picture. Now, I want to know, was the student and the police the same race? Just curious to know that. It said the ACLU argued that the drawing is an outlet utilized in the student's treatment and as a therapy for ADHD. None of that was taken into consideration when school officials removed her from class to be interrogated by police. Now, do you know they don't supposed to be even talking to your children without a parent present? And even when a parent is present, the parent will say, I don't want to talk to you. I say, I want my lawyer present before I say a word to you, because anything I will say to you, you will use against me. So I'm not going to say two words to you. Now, Taylor says she was notified of the incident and immediately made her way to the school. There she spoke with school officials and officers in a separate part of the building, all while assuming her child remained in class. He said Taylor was informed that the parent of the other student had requested police be called and was considered pressing charges. When Taylor asked if mediation would be possible, school officials seemingly sided with the other child's parent. Okay. The non-black one. Okay. That makes sense. They say at that point, they say she was made aware that her child was no longer in class because she didn't even know that. Instead of being held in a cold room with officers who had handcuffed her. This a 10-year-old little girl now, 10 years old, 10. Taylor's request to be reunited with her daughter during the questioning was denied. They don't supposed to be questioning children without their parent present. Now, they said the Department of Education was grossly negligent in not taking reasonable steps to prevent such an absurd act. They say while also taking extraordinary and offensive steps to prevent Ms. Taylor from protecting and speaking with her own child, is what the ACLU said. And say in the end, it say the sister was forced to stand in horror as her handcuffed daughter was transported by police to the station. She was also suspended from school. Now, let's go back to what she actually did. She was being bullied by a non-black student. She drew whatever the alleged offensive sketch, and she is taken to the station off of what that parent said. Never in my life would I would say, hey, a kid needs to be going to jail behind a drawing. Number one, raise your kid right. But see, even when black people defend themselves, even when we defend ourselves, we getting arrested for it. That's a plantation mentality that we supposed to take abuse and we don't supposed to say nothing. We supposed to get kicked, beaten, whatever. And the moment we retaliate, something need to happen to us, not the one that did it to us. This is why I say this. I'm going to be the biggest proponent of this. Black children are not safe in public schools unless that public school is ran by a complete black administration. And what I mean by black administration, I'm talking about real black administration. I'm not talking about blackface, white supremacy operation. Okay? Black teachers, fine. Black teachers who care. Then I'm more cool with public school on that. But the average public school don't have black people running it and a bunch of black teachers running the school. Okay? So the only way I feel safe for black children is to either homeschool our children or create schools for our children. Now, the most viable thing I think we should do is create schools for our children. But if we don't have enough schools, at least the thing we can start doing is homeschooling. Our kids are socialized for homeschooling now due to the pandemic, which is a beautiful thing. They can get on Zoom or whatever else and homeschool. You can create your own online academy if you would like to these days and have students in it. At least you know these black children, when they are at home with you learning, you don't have to worry about no race soldiers beating on them. You don't have to worry about if they getting bullied and they either draw a picture or even fist fight and retaliate, they're not getting a criminal record. They're not forcing your children, to make certain medical decisions that you may not want your child to be a part of at that time period, unless you talked about that with your particular doctor, right? Our children are safer in either schools that we create or homeschool. I'm going to preach that message to the end because I know that's what works. So they said that all the actions that the ACLU has expressed, prove the agencies involved acted negligently in handling the incident, and it was well to show a discrepancy in the punishment disabled students face. Remember, this child is disabled, a disability. So now you're picking on her for being black, but now disabled? But see, when you black and disabled, it doesn't matter because your life don't matter to these people, no matter where you go. Now, this is Hawaii. So we can't say it's a bunch of white people running this. Okay? We can't say that. So I always tell people we are on our own. We are on our own at the end of the day. I'm cool with it visiting a lot of places, Hawaii included. I visit, but when it comes to me living places, because you see, some of y'all got that twisted. Because I'm not got in my mind that interview I did with Sister Laila in Turkey. Some of y'all got that twisted, like I'm telling people to go move to Turkey. You do what you want to do. If you want to move to Turkey, do what you want. It's not a place for me, but I'm cool with visiting. Listen, I want to visit most of the countries in the world. I want to visit. Do I want to live there? No. Because I understand visiting is one thing, and how I move when I do my visits, right? It may be a little different than some of you. So I'm going to avoid certain areas due to what I know, right? And my research prior to me getting places. But if I have this feeling about certain people running, and I'm not saying every person hates black people, not saying that either, right? Because I experienced more racism in the United States I've ever experienced outside this country, right? Let me be clear on that. Let me be 100% clear. Even while I was in Turkey, I didn't deal with nothing I deal with here in America. But you can lessen your racism that you deal with in America by staying in a predominantly black area, right? Or predominantly with cities where at least 25 to 50+% of the population is black. You can lessen the racism, right? And that's what I tell black people to do in America, lessen it. You ain't gonna get rid of it, but lessen it. So the ACLU even admitted that race is a motivating factor in the mishandling, let's say, of this little young sister. So it said that Miss Taylor and her daughter were singled out because of their race, both perceived as treated as more dangerous, less rational, and less worthy of respect for their rights than non-black students and the parents involved. Let's say school officials even confirmed that the fire inside Taylor's eyes and feared her acting out as an angry black woman I said demand changes laid for the ACLU, or they want them to adopt policies that say forbidding staff to call the police on a student unless the student presents an imminent threat or significant harm to someone. It says generally allowing parents or legal guardians access to their children while on school property. I mean, isn't that already? Well, I don't know Hawaiian law. Okay, so let me not say that. It says city and state expunge all records from the arrest of the child and pay $500,000 in damages to the mom and child for the harm and suffering caused by the Department of Education and staff from HPD officers. The Department of Education, Honolulu Police have been given until November the 8th to respond to the demands of what the ACLU wants. And that's like common sense. You don't supposed to be questioning a child without the parent present. It's that simple. And any lawyer, even the ACLU, know that. And that's why they have grounds for a lawsuit. And in my opinion, just what I know, they'll win that lawsuit. Oh, yeah, they'll win that. And they should. But this is how our black children are treated. Our black children do not have a safe space in public school. I'm a firm believer of that. Now, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that the majority of black children have safe spaces in public schools, and I'm going to show you the evidence that they don't. Because the moment you let the race soldiers in the school, we know we ain't safe. It's enough we got problems that is these caring teachers, but now you got the race soldiers? They the killers of black children, black people, period. So we definitely ain't safe if they in there. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular story. I hate this happened to this, young little sister, 10 years old. I mean, that's traumatizing. It's so traumatizing. This is, like I said, this is why I'm a big advocate of create black schools or homeschool. Period. That's what I'm a big advocate of.
Living in America as a black person, you recognize there is one set of laws for you and one set of laws for those, especially in the white community. In our book, Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy, I take you through times in my life when I first started noticing white supremacy. We teach you how to recognize it, identify it, and also counter it in our book. This book is a beginner's course for those that are just starting to wake up and open their eyes to see the system of white supremacy. As a black American person, you must understand this system because this system is life or death to you. How you handle it, how you deal with it, it can affect your mental health if you don't understand this system. Pick up our book, Passive Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy, today on Amazon.